Okay, so if you were, I mean, anywhere near the internet in late 2024.
Or a radio.
Or a radio, or frankly, just a club, you know exactly what we're talking about. We're doing a deep dive today into one of the biggest, most, inescapable songs of recent memory. ROSÉ and Bruno Mars's smash hit, APT.
Oh, you couldn't escape it. It became like mandatory listening almost overnight. APT just absolutely exploded in October 2024.
Yeah.
It's the lead single from Rosé's debut solo album, Rosie.
And when we say exploded, we mean it. It became one of the year's biggest cross-cultural phenomena, topping charts in, over 50 countries?
Yeah.
It was wild.
The scale is genuinely staggering. We got sources detailing its success, and our mission here is to really analyze that perfect storm, the mix of cultural specificity, creative vision, and social media that just turned a quirky idea into this global moment.
A moment that by late 2025 had generated billions of streams. It's just, the numbers are hard to wrap your head around.
And what's fascinating is the speed. It debuted right at #1 on the Billboard Global 200. So this wasn't just a hit, it was a huge statement. It was Bruno Mars's biggest debut ever on those global platforms, and maybe more importantly, it was what solidified Rosé as a solo artist, way outside of K-pop circles.
It totally changed her career trajectory. But to understand why, we have to start with the song's foundation, because the core idea is so beautifully simple, but also so culturally specific.
Right. Let's unpack it. The whole song is built around this one addictive chant from a traditional Korean drinking game.
The game is called Apartment, or APT, which is where we get the title APT.
Exactly. And if you've never played it, the mechanics they're pretty straightforward, but super rhythmic. Players stack their hands and call out apartment floor numbers. It's all about reflexes and counting.
It's designed to be social, right? It kind of forces that interaction.
For sure. And the inspiration behind it, according to the sources, was completely organic. It came right from Rosé's personal life.
Yeah, she mentioned a really memorable 20th birthday party with the other Blackpink members. And that moment of just genuine fun became the direct catalyst. She basically bottled that real-life experience.
And that authenticity, I think, is the crucial starting point for why it became so sticky. But there's a risk there, isn't there? If your whole song is built on, a drinking game chant.
It could sound childish or just gratingly repetitive.
Exactly. How did they manage to make that core loop sound like pop perfection instead of, just annoying?
I feel like that's where the genius of the production comes in. The track itself is this high-energy, playful pop-punk thing, which is already a bit of a new sound for both of them.
Right.
But the hook, those shouted lyrics, apatu, apatu, I mean, they are just designed to be screamed along to in a group.
Yeah, the producer, Roger Chahaid, he actually called the concept unconventional and strange in a good way. He said the rhythm of the game itself literally drives the entire beat of the song.
So the music is built from the game up. That makes so much sense.
And critics really noticed how this shifted Rosé's whole image. One critic, Kim Do-hyun, praised it for showing her approachable and upbeat side.
Which is a big contrast to her usual, high-end K-pop charisma. This felt grounded, fun.
Totally. And for you, the listener who maybe just hears it on the radio, the context of the game almost doesn't matter. The sources point out that kids were streaming it constantly without any idea it was about a drinking game.
It just works on a purely sonic level. The fun is universal.
In a way, it allowed her to shed some of that super polished K-pop machinery and just be joyful. And I think that lightness is what really resonated.
That lightness is key. And it brings us to the next piece of the puzzle, which is the star power. Because this wasn't just some standard, label-orchestrated collaboration.
Not at all.
ROSÉ had this vision for years. She wrote and demoed APT almost 2 years before it ever came out.
And get this, she even funded the LA studio session herself. This was before she even signed with Atlantic Records.
Wow, so she was all in from the very beginning.
Completely. She had total faith in this idea. But when it came time to actually pitch it to Bruno Mars, her advisors were not so sure.
Yeah, the sources say they were really cautious. They actually warned her not to send APT.
They thought it was too niche, right? Too culturally specific. They basically told her he won't go for it.
Which just proves that sometimes you gotta ignore the traditional wisdom, because despite all that, Bruno Mars heard the demo and apparently loved it instantly.
He got it. He heard that raw energy and then just added his signature flair to elevate it from a great demo into, a global smash.
But this does lead to that creative debate, and we should probably touch on it. Some sources credit the huge chart boost almost entirely to Bruno. That Bruner-coded catchiness.
You can definitely hear his influence. his arrangements, his ad-libs,
Yeah.
it's all there.
For sure. But then you have to weigh that against the fact that this was Rosé's brainchild. Her concept, her culture, and crucially, she owns the masters.
That is a massive detail. The fact she maintained ownership is a huge testament to her vision and her leverage in that situation.
So it's her song, elevated by him.
I think that's the perfect way to put it. And what the collaboration really did was pool their demographics. Suddenly you had K-pop stans, Western pop lovers, and then this huge group of global partygoers all listening to the same track.
Listeners who don't always overlap, and their voices just work so well together. Her motives highs with his, like, soulful grooves.
It created what one critic called a time capsule bop. It feels nostalgic, like something from the early 2000s, but also completely fresh.
Right, but none of that longevity, none of those billions of streams would have happened without the social media firestorm.
Oh, this is where it all came together. The timing, the simple visuals. It was the perfect catalyst.
So let's talk about the video. It drops on October 18th, 2024. And what's so critical is that it was intentionally low-key.
Super low-key, just colorful, fun, and packed with that simple, reproducible hand-stacking dance.
It wasn't trying to be cinematic. It felt more like visual instructions for a TikTok challenge.
Which was genius, because users immediately flooded TikTok, Instagram, Reels, X, everywhere.
Right.
With recreations of the APT game gestures. If you were online that month, you just couldn't escape it.
No, it was everywhere. And it became the centerpiece for, like, multiple viral trends at once.
You had two main types of content, right?
Yeah.
You had the really precise APT dance covers
Yeah.
from people showing off their skills.
And then my personal favorite, the hilarious, chaotic Korean drinking game fails.
Yes. And both were equally popular because they were just so relatable. You either nailed it or you failed spectacularly. Either way, it was entertaining.
This had a real cultural impact, too. It sparked this wave of nostalgia for Korean drinking culture for people who grew up with it.
And at the same time, it introduced the whole concept to a new global generation.
Yeah.
It was a genuine cultural exchange driven by a 5-second gesture.
The reaction on X was electric. I remember seeing fans call it a serve that catered to the whole world. It had this amazing cross-generational appeal.
It really did. And the comparisons people were making were huge.
Insane. Koreans were calling it the first K-mega hit since Gangnam Style to really break through those cultural barriers and achieve true global saturation.
And that staying power, the fact that it was still an inescapable earworm a year later, that speaks to the power of a simple, universal idea.
Okay, so speaking of massive success, let's just run through the commercial domination. It peaked at #1 globally, but even in the US market, which is so competitive, it hit #2 on the Billboard Hot 100.
And the streaming numbers, that's where you really see the global habit. It became the fastest K-solo song in history to hit 1 billion streams on Spotify.
1 billion! That kind of speed isn't just about hype. It's proof of sustained repeat listening. People were putting it on loop.
Let's circle back to the visuals for a second, because the success of that music video really reinforced a huge idea. Less is more.
Absolutely. It was simple, personality-driven, no CGI overload. It felt like something you and your friends could actually film in your living room.
That simplicity is what makes replication frictionless. If it had been some high-budget, complex video, that whole social media trend wouldn't have happened.
Right. But with any global phenomenon, there's usually some friction. And we should address the criticism it faced.
For sure. Shortly after it blew up, a Malaysian group criticized it, saying the song was promoting bad Western behavior because of the drinking game theme.
And that sparked a whole debate online.
It did. But what's interesting is the controversy didn't derail the song's momentum at all. If anything, it just fueled more discussion and got more people talking about its origins.
So people were debating, is a pop song based on a drinking game promoting alcohol abuse, or is it just celebrating a piece of culture?
And the ultimate counter-argument always came back to that inherent joy factor. Rosé herself said the game was her favorite way to break the ice and make people smile.
That unpretentious fun, that's what won out in the end.
So if we synthesize this whole incredible journey, the formula for APT becomes remarkably clear. You take an unpretentiously fun concept, a specific, authentic cultural gem.
Wrap it in pop perfection with 2 iconic artists, and then you just amplify it with the internet's love for shareable chaos.
Exactly. Simple, reproducible gestures.
The success of APT really is a masterclass. It shows the power of taking a cultural niche and pairing it with a simple, high-energy beat. It proves that authenticity and visual simplicity can overpower massive production budgets.
Which raises a really important question for the music industry moving forward. We saw how that Loki video was praised for proving less is more.
So given that APT achieved this record-breaking success by relying on personality and a simple dance anyone could try, what does that tell you about the future of music virality? A future where maybe simplicity and cultural authenticity will permanently outweigh those complex, overproduced visuals? Something to think about the next time a song just takes over your entire feed.